True fact. JK Rowling is actually richer than Stephen King. JK Rowling is estimated at $1 billion net worth, most of which she gives away to charity, and Stephen King is about $200 to $400 million in net worth. Think about that. Also, true fact. Saying true fact is a bit redundant, don't you think? Hey, Queens. Yeah, you. You know who you are. God, come on. Go ahead and put that crown on your head. Now tilt a little to the left. Now a little to the right. Perfect. Now let's get to work. Because we know you got big goals. And you got big dreams and not afraid to let them know. Why? Because you step into your purpose. You speak out on your faith. And you shift up in your journey. Because you a boss. Welcome to the podcast, Drop the Expire and Act with your host, Velly of QueenBayGoals.com, reminding you that you are a queen before anything else. It's your life and your goals. Make it royal. All right, y'all. Go ahead and work that crown. Hello. Let's get into episode number 8, Queens. So, we are continuing with our Act Like, Think Like series. And for those of you that don't know, we are on the People Now with Act Like, Think Like series. So, these are the actions and mindsets that I'm going to give you examples of people who have done it before. Maybe something that you want to do, or maybe something that is in the realm of what you want to do, but the actions of these people and the mindsets of these people are still something that you should move forward with if you are ready to drop your aspiring act. So let's get into it. This is your host, Velly, and this week we are on Act Like JK Rowling and Think Like Stephen King. So let's hit it up with the actions first, which is Act Like JK Rowling. Now, if you have not heard her story, you are in for a bit of a treat because like a lot of people, and I don't know, this is maybe a mindset thing. I'll probably do a later episode about it. A lot of people who are rich and famous now, they have like a backstory of, they came from, like, they were on welfare, or they were on food stamps, or they did something traumatic happened in their life, and then they turn it around from there. That's been a lot of people's backstory, and for a long time I felt like, I had to hit rock bottom before I could start to elevate, and I still kind of have that in the back of my mind. Like most people's whose story you hear, it's like you have to really hit rock bottom to discover what that great thing is that you want to do. And the answer is no, you don't. But it's just what a lot of people share when they're sharing their stories. But you don't necessarily have to hit rock bottom in order to level up. But that's a episode for another day. In this one, we're talking about the actions that J.K. Rowling took to get her in the place that she is now with her billionaire status. Which she actually denies, because she says that she gives a lot of money to charities, so she's probably not in the billionaire. She's probably more like a high millionaire, but still, she's way up there in the amount of money that she has earned over the years. Now, when I say act like J.K. Rowling, it's a part of her story that I want you to act like, which is she never gave up, right? So she got the story for Harry Potter. If you don't know who J.K. Rowling is, she is the creator of Harry Potter. She got the idea on a train ride. I don't remember, she was going home from work or something. She was on the train and she got this idea, and as soon as she got home and she got off the train, she immediately started writing about the boy who had magical powers. And she actually went through, I think it was 12 publishing companies. She had actually rejected her Harry Potter book, right? And she still continued to push it. She finally got a yes, I didn't remember, at some point, probably like the 13th publisher. And it was because one of the people who were reviewing the work, one of their kids read the first chapter, and they were like, I need more, right? So it's a good thing that she kept going and she kept pushing herself. And it's a good thing that that book ended up in that kid's hands, because it told them that, kids are really going to want to read this story. So I love her plight in that she did not give up. She continued to push. One of her, I don't remember if it was an editor or a publisher, but somebody had gave her the advice that, you're probably not going to make much money off of this book, so maybe you need to get a regular day job to cover your expenses, because this book is not going to be it. But she pressed forward, she continued on, she continued to write. And now look at her empire, right? She has the entire Harry Potter series, which I think is like 7 books, plus the movies. Plus she played major parts in the movies as, I think it was an executive producer, and she kind of had some kind of say in the direction that the movies were going and the storylines and stuff like that. And then she still had the Fantastic Beasts series that's kind of the before Harry Potter world, but it's still in the Harry Potter world. And I think she also wrote under another name. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but she wrote under another name for another series that she's writing. So from last I checked, she had like 11 books that she has written. But imagine if she had gave up after, that person said, maybe you should get a day job, right? Imagine if she had gave up after the first 5 publishers says, you know what, I'm not going to accept this. We're not going to even, well, they did. They rejected her work. Imagine if she had gave up at that point. She didn't. She pushed through it because she believed in herself and she believed in the work that she created. So the action that, guys, I want you to take away this week, the action I want you to take away is to continue to push forward. No matter if there are people who are telling you that you can't be great, ignore those naysayers and continue to push yourself forward. No matter if you are rejected, if your work is rejected multiple times, it probably has not hit the right desk, it probably has not hit the right person, it probably has not hit the right audience. But I don't want you to quit. I don't want you to give up on whatever it is that you're aspiring to be. So the action that I want you to take is to keep moving forward, just like JK Rowling. And I want you to act like JK Rowling in that you keep moving forward. Move beyond the circumstances that you have. Move beyond like any rejection from people who probably might not see your vision, right? If you can see your vision, if you see it and it's all real in front of you, drop your aspiring act and continue to push forward in the direction of your dreams. Okay? So let's get into the think like Stephen King. Now, if you think about Stephen King, if somebody says the name Stephen King to you, what is one of the first things that you think of? Because for me, it's scary movies. Movies I probably don't even want to see. The reason why I really don't like scary movies, but the reason why I really don't like his scary movies are that they're kind of laid in a bit of reality where the movie can actually be real. Like in real life, this is something that could happen in real life, like Carrie and all this other crazy stuff. It's like, yeah, I can imagine that happening in real life. So I don't like to watch a lot of his scary movies. Or I'm the type of person who, if I watch a scary movie, I watch it in the daytime. I feel a little better watching it in the daytime. But when I say think like Stephen King, I mean, he had this idea of these are the type of things that he was going to write about. These are the type of books that he was going to put out into the world. And he did it anyway, right? And he has been doing this for years. Like, everybody knows the name Stephen King. He has built up this entire empire. And just like we talked about last week in the Think Like Marie Forleo, in the Act Like Marie Forleo, Think Like Oprah episode, where I said Oprah, she's a whole brand in herself. Stephen King is on that brand act, because if you think of the name Stephen King, you automatically know, okay, he's a scary movies guy, right? He has a lot of scary movies. You've probably seen one or more than one of them in your lifetime, or you've heard of him. Like, nobody has not heard of, well, maybe the younger generation, but most people have heard of a Stephen King book or a Stephen King movie. And I think he was one of the first who actually had the books and the movie thing going, which I don't know if this is true or not, but he could probably have paved the way for people like JK Rowling, to come up and, have their books turned into these big major films. I don't know if he was an inspiration for her. I do not know that positively, but I'm just saying he's probably one of the people who pioneered that feel and turned these books into great movies. I'm not sure why he has not earned more money, but I mean, I guess that's just the way that it goes. And he started years ago, and he's been out for years now. But when I say think like Stephen King, that's what I want you to think like. I want you to think beyond, the books that you're creating if you're writing a book, or the business that you're building. It's not something that you're building for today. It's something that you're building on your own empire, where 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, people still remember your name. People still remember who you are. People still remember what it is that you brought to the world. So when you're creating your business, when you're writing your book, when you are going out there and going after your dream, that's what I want you to think about. Think about, okay, in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, what is it that I'm going to want people to remember about me? right? What is it I'm going to want people to remember about my business? What is it I'm going to want people to remember about my book? So when you're thinking and you're getting ready to drop your aspire and act in these things, I want you to think bigger than today. Think bigger than the moment. Think bigger than $1, right? Think bigger than selling a book for like $5. Think beyond that, right? Your life is beyond that first book that you put out there, that second book that you put out there. Think beyond right now. Think beyond this moment. So, in summary for this week's episode, it is act like JK Rowling, think like Stephen King. So act like JK Rowling. Don't give up in whatever your dreams is, even if you're stopped or you're halted in a moment because of some kind of rejection. That may be just a pause in your story. That may be just something that you get to tell people along the way when you actually made it. So don't think of it as it's a pause, it's a stop. It's no time to go forward. Keep moving forward. Keep going after your dream. And then think like Stephen King. Make sure that you think beyond the moment. Think beyond today. Think beyond the first book that you write. Think beyond what my business is going to look like today. What is my business going to look like 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now? What are people going to remember me for? Or put it this way, what do you want people to remember you for? So think about that when you are getting ready to drop your aspiring act and create your business, create your book, create the dream life that you've always wanted. So we have one more episode in the Act Like, Think Like series that's related to people called Act Like Michael Jordan, Think Like LeBron James. But that is not going to come next week because next Wednesday is the last Wednesday of the month, which means we're doing a book review. I'm not sure yet which book I'm going to do because I'm listening to an audiobook and then I'm also reading another book. But what I don't like with the audiobooks is that I can't go in and like take notes. Well, I can take notes, but I can't like highlight the notes that I want to get back to. I'm going to have to write them down and remember. So I might have to save that audiobook for a later review and then just use the one that I'm reading. So we'll see. I'll let you know which book. Come back and listen next week to see which book I decided on. It was either going to be what's the name of the book? Live on Purpose, I think is the name of the book by Oprah Winfrey, and she's actually reading the audiobook. Or it's going to be Women and Money by Susie Orman. So it's going to be either or. We'll see. Next week, don't forget to come back. And if you've missed any of the previous episodes, go back and listen. And I'll see you guys in the next, or you'll hear it in the next podcast. You have been listening to another episode of Drop the Aspiring Act. If you're looking for more information of this podcast and other episodes, please visit queenbaygoals.com.